First one is admit that porn controls your life. Number 2, humble yourself before God and admit you cannot do it alone. Number 3, write down everything that is taken away from your life by allowing porn into it. Number 4, write down the things that trigger you. Number 5 is remove all the triggers. This is the hardest step. Number 6, pray for forgiveness and ask for strength. Number 7, track your progress towards getting better using a dedicated journal entry. Number 8, continue to remain humble and stay vigilant. Triggers will pop up every day, everywhere, all the time. And number 9, help somebody else out. Those are the 9 steps. If you follow those 9 steps, then I truly believe you will stop it. When I was a lot younger, I'm 29 now, when I was in my late teens in high school, I was, this is not an avid porn watcher, but basically I watched it all the time. And it controls you to a point that is scary, and looking back at it, it's probably a miracle sent from heaven above that I was actually able to defeat my addiction to porn. And this is a very religious, Christian-based view of it. I do not think you can do it without God. I do not think you can do it without a Christian worldview. So if that's something that you're not interested in, hear me out, because I'm trying to help you. I'm not trying to make you become a Christian. I just don't think you can do it without Christianity. I don't think you can do it without God, and I don't think you can do it without Jesus Christ. The first step, admit that porn controls your life. I base a lot of this program off of AA, which is Alcoholics Anonymous, and it's not exactly that, but it's taken a lot of parts from that, and also what I believe and what I know. And so I have, obviously this is my method on how to do it. So it's not AA's method. I couldn't actually find a program like this, like a 9-step, 10-step, 8-step program. So I made a website too. It's scottschroeder.info, and you could check it out down in the description down below. This is all written out, so you could screenshot it. You can always go back to this, because I know videos are nice to hear, but obviously you want to be able to read it sometimes too, to go back to it in times of struggle, because there are a lot of important things that you're going to need to remember, that you're going to need to go back to the website for. So step 1, admit that porn controls your life. This is one of the most humbling steps, is because you have to say this out loud, and you have to say this, in my opinion, in prayer out loud to God. You can write this in your journal, but you have to speak the words out into the world, or else it is not real. We are physical beings as much as we are spiritual beings, and I will say that time and time again, which is important, because praying in your head, it counts. I'm not gonna sit here and be like, it doesn't count. It means more if you involve more than just your spiritual being, the voice in your head. It involves, if you involve more than that and you actually engage your physical self, it actually means more to say it out loud. So admit that porn controls your life out loud to God. He will listen. He's there. Number 2, humble yourself before God and admit you cannot do it alone. This is a very difficult step for a lot of people, not that difficult a step for other people. If you already believe in God, you already believe in Jesus, this is not that hard. You already know these things. But if you don't, and you're a really smart atheist, like many of them are, I think that there's something about being an atheist that it pulls the intellectual types to it, because it's very unhumbling, because they worship their own intelligence, and they are smart. I'm not taking away from the fact that they're smart, but I think they begin to worship their own intelligence. So you have to be able to humble yourself before God and admit you cannot do it alone, because you can't do it alone. You have to sit there, say it out loud, and say, I cannot do this alone. This is something that I need help with. I need you to guide me. I've always looked at God as like a river. You can make progress swimming against the tide. It's harder, but you can make progress. You definitely can. Some people, the tide might not be as strong against them, so they can make a tremendous amount of progress. But life, when you have got into it, it becomes like you turn around and you start to go with the current, and things become easier in a way, more difficult in others. It's harder to be a Christian, but I do believe life gets easier to live, because you know the truth. Number 3, write down everything that is taken away from your life by allowing porn into it. This is more of a functional step. Look at your life, see the things that you have lost because of it. Porn, for some people, they are all in, all addicted. That's all they can think about. That's all they do. So for them, it's going to be a lot easier. For the people who just do it every once in a while, it's not a big deal for me, blah, 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 blah. It is. Write down every single thing that is taken away from your life by allowing porn into it. A good example would be a woman. Let's say you're single and you feel like you don't need a woman because you could do it yourself. Having a woman's better. I'm married. I got 2 kids. Trust me, it's better having a wife and having somebody you can grow with and who can help you live into the person that you were made to be. So write down everything. This is a very functional step. It's a lot of time will be taken up by it. So write down all the stuff that's taken away from it. What could you do with that time instead? What could you do as opposed to thinking about it all the time? What could you think about instead? This is a very functional step and a very important step, because it's the step that you come back to and go, this is the life I was living. This is the life I was leading. And now I'm no longer living that life, no longer leading that life, because I don't do this anymore. Number 4, write down the things that will trigger you. These can be anything. It could be Snapchat. It could be TikTok. It could be YouTube. It could be Twitter, Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook. I don't know if I mentioned Snapchat. Whatever. All these things. There are so many. Netflix. Everything. It's everywhere, and it's in everything. You have to write down every single thing that potentially triggers you. What websites trigger you? I'm not talking about the actual website itself, obviously, but what triggers you to get to the point where you want to do it. Remove those things. There's so much soft core porn out there right now, and we look at it and it's like, oh, it just doesn't really matter. It's just not a big deal. It is a big deal. Don't engage with that stuff anymore. And you have to write down every single little thing that can potentially flip that switch in your head. Write it all down, because the very next step is going to be the hardest part once you have everything written down. We are going to remove all the triggers. Now, this means deleting not just the apps, so YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff. It's not just deleting those. It's deleting the accounts. You have to go all in. You can't just dip your toes into it, because it's just not going to work. And unless you go all in, it's just not going to work. So you have to go all in. Delete the account and then delete the app. That way there's no quick, I'll just re-download the app and sign in and then everything's back. No. Your account's gone. And you know, the thing is, people aren't going to miss you. The people really care about you, the people that actually truly care about you see in real life, or just text them or call them. It's not a big deal. They don't need to keep up with you on Instagram or Facebook. I haven't had any of those things for so long, and I still have relationships with people. Isn't that amazing? You just text them or call them. So that's the hardest thing. I have a quote here from the Bible, Matthew 5:28-30. This is from the Sermon on the Mount, the lust portion. You have heard that it was, I'm starting with 27. You have heard that it was said, you shall not commit adultery. But I say to you that everyone who looks at a woman with lustful intent has already committed adultery with her in his heart. If your right eye causes you to sin, tear it out and throw it away. For it is better that you lose one of your members than that your whole body be thrown into hell. And if your right hand causes you to sin, cut it off and throw it away. For it is better that you lose one of your members than your whole body go into hell. And the idea is there, this is Sermon on the Mount. This is Jesus speaking to the crowd. And he's saying it's better to just cut your eye out, cut your hand off. If it causes you to sin, cut it off, get rid of it. And that's the same idea here with Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter. I don't care what potential positive impact can happen from that. Delete those apps, delete the accounts from them, cut them off, cut the hand off. Get rid of it all. You could even go as far as getting rid of your phone. I will go back and forth on this all the time. I think that it's maybe possible, but a smartphone is actually an important tool. If you don't get sucked into the other things, I think you can get away with it with just having the smartphone, deleting the accounts, deleting the apps. But if not, get rid of the smartphone. It's not that hard. Downgrade your smartphone, get a flip phone, whatever it is. There are a bunch of dumb phones. I've actually reviewed them on my other tech channel, Techno Eclipse, and you have to go all in on it. That's why I say that step 5 is the hardest part. Step 6, pray for forgiveness and ask for strength. I have another quote here, John 3:16, for God so loved the world that he sent his only begotten son. So just understand that you have to pray for the strength to do it. You cannot do this alone. You have to look toward, I mentioned this at the beginning, you have to look towards God. You have to look towards Jesus, because that's your only hope, in my opinion. I'm a Christian, so obviously that's what I believe in. And you can disagree with me all you want, that's fine. If you can do it a different way, I want what's best for you. So if you do it a different way, then that's fine. Like, I'm not going to be mad at you if you do it a different way. This is the way that I believe will help you, because obviously Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. Number 7, track your progress towards getting better using a dedicated journal entry. You have to do this daily. Remind yourself that you are not alone in this fight daily. Pray for the strength daily, and then read a passage of the Bible daily. There are tons of good passages. Just look up any list of passages that help you defeat lust, and you will get a full list. You can read through those, or just read through any passage in the Bible. Obviously, I'm more of a New Testament kind of guy as a Christian. The Old Testament, the Psalms, which we'll go into in a little bit here, have some great passages that you should definitely look into. Next, step 8, continue to remain humble and stay vigilant. Triggers will pop up every day, everywhere. This is when it's been a month or 2 or 3 or 4 and you haven't done anything. Just remember that you have to remain vigilant in your fight against this, because if you don't, you'll lose. You just will, because it's everywhere all the time. And even if you break your addiction, you think you do, it can pop up in daily life in a way that you're just not expecting. So you just have to remain vigilant. And if there's a trigger that does pop up, remove it. We'll go into that in a minute here. And then finally, the 9th one is help someone else out. This is an embarrassing thing to talk about. So knowing that somebody has a problem is tough to know, but if you find that somebody does have a problem, share with them my link, share with them this video. Just make sure you help someone else out, because I think that this is one of the fights of this generation, and I hope to be the one that has the most and greatest effect on it, because that's why I'm doing this. I hope to help the most people, not for my own notoriety. I'm not saying this is my method that I made and you have to pray to me. No. You go to God and Jesus. That's who's going to help you. I'm just trying to point you in that direction. So now I have some functional things that I think are really important that are missing from a lot of people's potential tips. I've watched some videos about this to make sure that these are my own ideas and I'm not just stealing from somebody. And so I have some actual functional real life things. So this is what to do if you feel like you're struggling, you're feeling the urge or the temptation. You watch something, you saw something pop up and you're feeling that urge. So if you feel the urge, remove yourself from the situation, whatever it is. If you're watching a movie, if it's on your phone, just put the phone down, step out of the movie theater, step away. If it's with your friends, step away, go to the bathroom, whatever it is, just leave. You just have to get out of there. Just make up an excuse. Who cares? Pretend you're on a phone. Oh, I got a call. Pretend you're on just leave. You have to leave. Next, repeat this prayer. This is taken from Psalm 69. I have slightly edited it because I feel like the parts of the prayer don't fit exactly. The parts of Psalms 69 don't fit exactly with this, but so many parts do, so I edited it a little bit. So here is the prayer. Save me, O God, for the waters have come up to my neck. I sink in the miry depths where there is no foothold. I have come into the deep waters. The floods engulf me. I am worn out, calling for help. My throat is parched. My eyes fail, looking for my God. But I pray to you, Lord, in the time of your favor, in your great love, O God. Answer me with your sure salvation. Rescue me from the mire. Do not let me sink. Deliver me from those who hate me, from the deep waters. Do not let the floodwaters engulf me, or the depths swallow me up, or the pit close its mouth over me. Answer me, Lord, out of the goodness of your love. In your great mercy, turn to me. Do not hide your face from your servant. Answer me quickly, for I am in trouble. Come near and rescue me. Deliver me, Lord. Amen. That's the prayer that you are going to repeat if you feel the urge, you feel the temptation. It's a little bit long, and there's a reason for that. Print this out, put it in your wallet. That way you always have it. It's linked in the description. It's written all out there. Take a screenshot of it, print it, whatever you have to do. Write it down. Write it by hand. I don't care what you do. It's taken from Psalm 69. Anytime you feel that urge, you feel that temptation, say this prayer. It's a little bit long. It takes a minute or so. It pulls you out. It makes you think about something else, something greater than yourself, and that will help you. And then write down this new trigger, adding it to the previous list, and that way you can take steps to avoid that in the future. Whatever it is, just make sure you're taking steps to avoid it in the future. I don't know of a perfect example, but something will happen, and make sure you're taking steps to avoid that in the future. And now, how do you actually remove the triggers from your life? After you write down the triggers, you have to Jesus says cut your eye out, cut your hand off. So you have to get that intense. You have to actually go in with that level of intensity when doing this. So go through your house, remove them. Use the screen time feature on your phones to restrict websites. I know Apple has this. I don't know about Android. I'm certain that they probably do, but I know Apple for sure. You can restrict adult websites, and then you can also restrict any other website that potentially could trigger you. Obviously, just never ever turn it off. That's a promise you have to make between you, yourself, and God. Number 3 is actively learn to use your phone less. So this means a phone is probably one of the biggest things for most people because it's always there, always on you. So in life, you have to learn to get away from it. So go outside for walks, go for a run, go work out without your phone, go get an iPod so you have music to listen to if you want music. Start to live a less digitally dependent life. That way your first instinct isn't always, you go to the bathroom, your first instinct is always to pull out your phone, you take a shower, turn on music. Just make sure you're avoiding your phone, because eventually avoiding your phone less will bring up less opportunities for some type of trigger. 4, if your computer makes you do it, unplug the cable. This is extreme, but if this is something you do on your computer, take the power cable away and hide it. Put actual distance between yourself and doing the act. That's what you need to do. So take the power cable and put it in a drawer, hide it, throw it away. Who cares? You know what I mean? Like, if you need to actually use the computer, or you're trying to do it for this bad reason, then what you can do is, while you're looking for it, while you're going to get it, you're like, I shouldn't be doing this. Then you'll say the prayer, and then you'll stop doing it. Putting distance between yourself and the issue and the problem is huge. So you have to be very diligent and very vigilant about this. You can even turn off the Wi-Fi at night, whatever. You just have to get crazy about it. And finally, the 5th one is you have to build real barriers between yourself and the addiction. You just have to, and you have to learn to live a life without it. And you're going to have a lot more free time. So you have to learn to live a life with this more free time. Your life will be better for it, but so things are going to change in your life, and you have to be prepared for the change and be accepting and excited for the change, and you should be fine, and you'll do it. Like, you can. I really believe that you can do it. So that is how, those are the 9-step method. Obviously, I have the website linked down below if you want to check it out. Obviously, it's not for money. None of this is for money. It's because I have to, and I feel like I have to.